who will take us into the program. Dr. Ricker?
Good morning. Thanks, Bill. Yes, hello, everyone. It's great to see you. And we are all just a little bit happier today because grades are in, the fall semester is over, and we made it. We made it through the fall semester. It certainly was a challenging one, but boy, we are one of the few colleges in Maryland and in the country that actually had protocols in place that allowed our students and our faculty and staff to remain on campus for the entire fall semester. And I am really proud of us. It was exhausting, but I'm really proud of us. So it's great to welcome you. And I will just echo Mr. Brown's congratulations to all of you, not only for your admission to Hood College, but also for your offer of acceptance into our honors program. I can't say more about our honors program than what all of our participants will say today, but what I will say is, as Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs, this is our crown jewel program at Hood College. It is for the best of the best students, and you will be among many, I promise you, some of whom are in the Zoom room this morning. I will also say that I couldn't say more about Hood than what our outcomes already speak for our program. I'll just share a couple of those with you. In case you didn't know, Hood College graduates are recipients for the last 3 years of the top prize for Maryland honors students. That's called the Ports Award or the Ports Prize, and it is issued to the top honors student in the state of Maryland for all 4-year and 2-year institutions. Hood College students have won that for the last 3 years in a row, and that does not come easy. And that is a reflection of our students, and that's also a reflection of the outstanding nature of this program. I'll also share with you that just recently we invited the National Collegiate Honors Council to our campus to take a good broad look at our honors program and share with us things we're doing well and ways in which we can improve. And I would like to read from their report that we recently received, a quote that they shared about our Hood honors program. They said, "Honors at Hood has strong, distinctive qualities that set it apart from other programs, both within the college and among its local and national peers, making it the envy of many other programs." So those are the words and the achievements of other people rather than me. And those outcomes really, I think, speak to the fantastic nature of our honors program at Hood. You'll hear today about some transitions that are underway. I've been here 5.5 years serving as provost, and I've had the great privilege of working with Dr. Hoffman and Dr. Laufer as co-directors of the program, and they are passing the baton to Dr. Algazi Marcus and Dr. Kunde as co-directors of the program, and you're going to meet all of them today. But what I want you to notice is how the academic background and the professional backgrounds of the leaders of our honors program are purposefully interdisciplinary. We previously had the chair of the philosophy department and now the chair of the biology department leading our honors program, and we're transitioning to the chair of our psychology and counseling program, as well as a faculty member from our global languages and cultures program. And that's on purpose because the interdisciplinary nature of our honors program is something that we're really proud of and we're really deliberate and purposeful about. It helps our honors students really tackle some of the big questions that they have and some of the big questions that they, as citizens of this state and this country, need to answer and struggle with. And so this program is really intentional and deliberate about bringing a lot of different perspectives to bear on critical problems and critical questions. And so I'm really pleased to welcome Dr. Kunde and Dr. Algazi Marcus as new leaders of the program. So with that, I will just simply say again, welcome. I'm proud to have you here today and pleased to be with you here today. And my office is available to support you should you have any questions from this point forward. But Mr. Brown, I'll turn the program back over to you.
Mr. Brown, you're muted.
Thank you very much. Isn't that awful? There's a lesson for you all. I pay a price for that, but you will not. But you'll get reminded. So anyway, you're invited to also to unmute if you have a question. We can answer them that way. How about that for an introduction? Anyway, our next portion of the program is really to turn it over to the co-directors. The co-directors at the moment, the co-directors that are imminent, and they will offer a discussion and sort of a conversation about our program. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Leffler, Dr. Hoffman, Dr. Cundy, and Dr. Algazi Marcus.
Well, good morning, everyone. Provost Ricker, thank you for that very generous introduction. We appreciate that very much, and we're very proud of the program. So I'm one of the outgoing co-directors and from the biology department, and I'll let the other co-directors introduce themselves, but just very briefly, because we have this unique situation, we're going to have the new co-directors interview Dr. Hoffman and myself, and they'll be learning a little bit about the program themselves along with you. And of course, we welcome your questions as we go along. Perhaps if you put them in the chat, will work very well.
And I just wanted to say also welcome. I'm Dr. Hoffman. Dr. Leffler just alluded to me as the other outgoing co-director. And I think it's appropriate that we, in a program that emphasizes questioning and critical thinking and sort of investigation on a lot of different levels, that we take the format of questions and questioning. And so sort of they have questions for us, the new incoming co-directors, and I know that you'll have questions for us. And so we thought that this would be a good time to just address some of those.
Hi, and I'm Dr. Shannon Cundy. I'm in the Psychology and Counseling Department and the chair of that department. And along with Dr. Marcus, I'm incoming as a co-director for the honors program. And we are super excited to have you here today, and we're super excited to meet you hopefully in the fall as well.
So hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Dr. Marcus. I use she, her pronouns, and I teach French, and I'm also the director of the Women's and Gender Studies program here at Hood. As Dr. Cundy said, we're really excited to take over as co-directors of the program in January. And so we're going to be learning along with you a little bit more about the honors program today. So I'm going to kick it off with a question for the current co-directors. So tell us, what are the main advantages of doing the honors program for students? How does it help them get where they want to go in terms of graduate school, law school, whatever their goal is?
Yeah, so I think you'll hear this theme throughout our answers, but what we're trying to do in the honors program courses is a little bit different and more focused on things like critical thinking and working in groups and developing arguments and expressing your arguments and critically looking at other people's arguments. And in any field that you're going to pursue, that certainly is one of the most important things. And so our courses, as Provost Ricker described, are interdisciplinary. So we're not kind of constrained to a particular kind of content. We're not, a faster version of history or a more in-depth version of biology. We're doing something quite different, actually. And so the courses are focused on process more than content in many ways. And so it's often writing intensive and a lot of group work, and we de-emphasize things like exams. And so those kind of skills, I think, are broadly applicable to almost any kind of field, especially if you're going to go into some of the fields, Lisa, that you talked about, like law or graduate school.
And I would add to that, sort of in terms of thinking about also outcomes of these courses. And so a lot of the honors courses are ones in which students pursue creative projects, research projects, are doing papers and posters. And one of the wonderful things about our honors program is that we're members of the Maryland Collegiate Honors Council, as well as the Northeast Regional Honors Council. And so we bring students to present their work from their honors classes at both of those different conferences every year. So that's a wonderful opportunity, whether it's a poster that you're presenting, whether it's a paper that you're presenting, whether you're on a panel. That's a great opportunity to kind of get your work out there, to get some response to it from your peers, to be able to interact with other honor students from the state of Maryland and from the Northeast region. As well as we also have an optional thing called a departmental honors paper, which is a really in-depth 2-semester full year research project that in your senior year you would be doing with members of your department. And that is excellent preparation for any kind of graduate or additional study. And we should also mention that, and I know this is going to come up in later aspects of our discussion, but that, honors is much more than just the classroom and much more than just what happens in the classes. And a lot of our classes are team taught, which is really exciting, to take law and cyberspace from someone who's an attorney, as well as somebody who is in computer science. So you get really both of those perspectives, which are really so important to understanding law and cyberspace and cybersecurity. But in addition to sort of these team taught classes, a number of our classes involve field trips and a lot of hands-on learning and sort of really kind of high impact experiences that really kind of enrich the learning experience.
Great. So could you tell us a little bit about how the different majors fit with the honors program? Is the honors program only for some majors, or does it work for all of the different majors?
Yes, it's for all majors across campus. So, and of course, we typically get very ambitious students, many who want to double major or, have a major and a couple minors. And so the program is designed quite specifically to accommodate students from all different majors. Some majors are more difficult than others because some have, more extensive requirements, but we try to manage for each of the majors. And one of the ways we do that is not have a lot of extra credits to complete the honors program. And one of the ways we do this is the first 4 courses in the program, those honors seminars for freshmen and sophomores, they all count for the college core curriculum. So it's really an alternative way to satisfy the core curriculum. It's not additional credits on top of everything else. So we are certainly aware of all the ambitions of our students and all the things they want to do, and we don't want to get in the way of that.
So could you tell us if it's possible for students to do the honors program and other things at the same time, like athletics, study abroad, once we can do that again with the pandemic, other things like that?
Yeah, so as Dr. Laufer was just saying, I mean, our honor students are best of the best, and so involved in everything. And so we have student athletes in the program. We have people who are involved in theater. We have people who are involved in choir, people who want to study abroad, people who are doing all kinds of work within the community. And so, yeah, we have some of the most active, engaged students on campus in the program in leadership roles in a lot of campus organizations and activities. And so, yeah, so certainly there are a lot of options for satisfying honors requirements. Study abroad, something that a lot of students are interested in. Study abroad will actually count as one of your upper level honors classes if you do that. So we actually want to highly encourage that. The departmental honors paper I referenced earlier, writing one of those also counts as one of your upper level honors classes. So particularly at the upper level, we have a lot of flexibility in terms of scheduling, but also options for satisfying those requirements. And at the lower level, as Dr. Laufer was just saying, all of those classes count towards the core curriculum. So it's actually arguably easier if you're doing honors to fulfill some of your core requirements than it might be otherwise.
So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about honors classes in high school versus honors classes in college. Like, what's the difference between those two? And then also kind of thinking about honors classes at Hood versus the non-honors classes at Hood. How are they different from each other?
Yeah, that's a question we often get. We're often talking to students who are taking AP courses and other honors level courses in high school, and we're using the same term, honors, and so it can be confusing, of course. And this relates a little bit to what I spoke about earlier. that, you know, an AP course that many of our students in the audience are taking, they know that those are maybe going into greater depth, growing faster than a typical course, but they're still, you know, in the same content essentially, right? It's disciplinary. So it's a history course and it's covering US history from a certain period of time, or it's a chemistry course that's covering certain things. And so although the name sounds similar, we are approaching it in a very different way. These are all specifically designed interdisciplinary courses. They're not some version of some normal course. And so it's very different that way. Similarly, you know, most of the courses, everyone will be taking a major or multiple majors in some cases. And those are, again, based in a discipline. And so there's a certain corpus of material that, you know, has to be covered if you're going to be considered, you know, a psychology major, et cetera, et cetera. Certain things that are, you know, you need to cover. But again, we're focused on something different. And so we've designed these courses specifically for the honors program. They're not doing other things.
Yeah, and just if I could jump in, it occurs to me that maybe even just giving the names of some of the courses would be helpful in terms of, you know, helping people understand what is it that we're talking about. And so thinking about the first year students and the class that they're going to be taking next semester, which is Honors 102. But there are 4 different options for taking this class. And we have 2 of the instructors actually here. So Dr. Laufer is teaching Plagues and Peoples. Dr. Kunde is teaching Are Humans Unique? We have a class being taught by a biologist who has a heavy background in philosophy on ethics and epidemics, obviously very, very timely. And then a course on food and sustainability. And so just to give you an example, so those are courses that don't necessarily fall neatly within a particular discipline. Like I understand, Dr. Laufer, in your class, I think you're doing some history and some biology and a little bit of sociology and perhaps even a little bit of ethics or philosophy. I don't know. Certainly, Dr. Kunde, I know you're doing psychology, but also philosophy and sociology and anthropology and, you know, lots of different things in your class as well. And so that just maybe helps people to understand what we're talking about when we say that they're topics that are not necessarily tied to any disciplinary perspective. And that gives you a lot of creative opportunities for looking for research connections and doing projects and posters. And I mean, what we want from our honor students are people who are intellectually curious and engaged and who want to participate in class discussions and argue about things and persuade and critically analyze. And so those are the things that the classes emphasize. But yeah, I don't know if either of you want to say a little bit more about either of the classes that you're offering, just by way of example.
Well, my class, Plagues and Peoples, yeah, we have textbooks written by historians and textbooks written by biologists. And of course, for us, the COVID was kind of interesting. We were talking about plagues and it was happening real time. And so you can just involve these things. And I see Julia there giving a little shout out. She was in the class, and we were on the COVID before anybody else. I think we were tracking it when there were like literally 4 deaths in China, and we were watching it. And our class, because we had studied the history of plagues, we actually knew what was going to happen before almost everyone else. And it's actually played out in very characteristic ways, actually.
That's really awesome, Craig. Yeah, in my classes, I have to say it's one of my absolute favorite classes to teach. I love that course because every time I teach it, it is completely different because the students bring something so interesting to it, because everybody has different views on what makes humans unique or not unique from other animals. And so we spend a lot of time really thinking about our minds and how you would even look at some of the characteristics like counting or things like that in a non-human species. And we also look at a lot of things that are peculiar to our times as well. For instance, one of the things that we do is we look at reality television through an evolutionary lens and try to understand why is it that people actually like reality television? How is that playing on some of our characteristics that have come about through evolution? So it's a really, really fun class, and it is interesting, and I think gives students a lot of skills in thinking about the world and also just how to relate to people from different disciplines, because such diverse topics come up.
And just to add on to that a little bit, I'm teaching one of the upper level electives this coming semester for the honors program, which is called Revisioning Motherhood in Modern Western Culture. And I've taught it multiple times in the past, about every 3 or 4 years. And this year I'm going to be completely rethinking and redoing the readings in light of a lot of gender stuff that has that I've learned about in the last 3 or 4 years. So talking about mothering, but also talking about parenting and how that plays out for people of different gender identities and stuff like that. So, and that is a completely interdisciplinary course. I'm hopeful that Dr. Kunde will be coming and giving a guest lecture, and I have at least 4 other visitors planned, including a student who took my course years ago, and because of my course became a midwife and is going to be joining us in the course to talk about her experience. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so how does the honors scholarship work? And what happens if a student doesn't get straight A's? Are they kicked out of the program? How does that work?
Well, so the scholarship is $2,000 a year, and that is on top of whatever other either merit or need scholarship you would be getting. So that's just added on the top. You have to be in good standing in the honors program to continue with that scholarship, but it would, if you complete the honors program, you would get it each of your 4 years, hopefully 4 years. At Hood College. You do not have to get straight A's. We're not looking for perfection here, but there are minimum GPA requirements. We give the first year students a little bit of a break because we know it's an adjustment. So you have to have at least a 3.0 after your first year, and then a 3.25 GPA overall after that. Most of our students, are making good progress. You have to take those 4 courses, one each of your first 4 semesters. And then there's the 3 upper level courses to take, some of which could be satisfied by study abroad or the departmental honors. So you have to be making a little bit of progress that way.
Although I should add to that, we do have also probationary periods for if students have a bad semester and temporarily fall below the minimum GPA requirements. And I think that I think there was a question in the chat, I think I saw about honors and gen ed requirements. So when we talk about honors requirements being used towards the core, that's what I think that's what you mean when you're asking about gen ed requirements. So our core curriculum, we have it split into Foundations Core and Methods of Inquiry Core. And so it's our Methods of Inquiry Core where you're exposed to all these different methods of inquiry within your honors classes that you can use your honors classes to actually fulfill.
Karen, another one actually came in to the chat also asking about whether or not internships are available to honors students.
Well, internships are available to all Hood students. So, that's not something that's necessarily particular to the honors program. One of the things we do within honors that is particular to our program is actually our honors 202 class, which is the class then that students would take in the 2nd semester of their sophomore year. And that is a service learning practicum class that takes students out into the community. Although again, with the pandemic, we're doing all of this, largely virtually this coming spring. And so still trying to figure out exactly how all of that's going to work. But we have many connections with various sites and campus. And so some students will tie that to a major. If they're interested in history, they might work at the Maryland Historical Society. Or do something that with a group that's working on, sort of artifacts or, archives, things like that. But we have, people who are doing just sort of all kinds of different things. And then some of those students later then go on to either continue to work there or to eventually develop an internship with those organizations, depending on the connections that they've built. But certainly internships, you'll find Hood generally has a very active career center, and just weekly updates of wonderful internships that are opportunities that are available, and all kinds of things that they're doing to help all Hood students have lots of chances to get out in the community, get some work experience, try to figure out in a very practical way what kinds of things that you might want to do after graduation.
So I don't know if Karen or Craig want to take this, but are honors courses harder than other classes?
I guess I would say they're differently hard. They're harder, I think, in the sense that the kind of things that we're asking students to do are more higher level skills. So we're not interested in having you memorize. We're not interested in having you summarize, right? If we're reading a novel, it's not a book report. I don't need a book report. I don't want a book report. What I want to know is, what did you think about it? What's your, what conclusion did you come to as a result of reading it? What argument do you want to make about it? What things did you see in it that you want to bring out into the discussion? And so, as Dr. Laufer said earlier, many of our honors classes have no tests at all because we just don't emphasize testing. So that's good news for a lot of people. Certainly would be good news to me as a student. But it does mean that there's a trade-off in terms of maybe more papers, more research that you're going to be asked to do, more creative thinking, more. We're not going to tell you, here's exactly what you have to write about, and here's what you have to defend this particular position. And we want to know, what position are you coming up with, in terms of thinking about the text, and what is, so it's harder in a different way. In terms of the skills it requires, I think they're higher level skills, but I don't think it's harder in terms of, being significantly more work than a lot of other classes. And maybe that depends on the other classes that you're comparing it to. Different people find different things to be challenging, different majors to be challenging, different courses to be challenging. So, but that might be also an excellent question for the students. And we do the breakout rooms, maybe you want to ask the students if they think that if their honors classes are harder than their other courses.
Yeah, I'm cognizant of our time, and we don't want to give any short shrift to actually what's the highlight of the program. So if that's okay, we have 6 current honor students who have very generously and graciously agreed to give some of their time on this Saturday to share with you. And I will ask each of them, maybe I'll call on you so you'll know what order, to introduce yourself, and then we're hoping that the students in the audience will have some questions for our students. And usually this is where you'll get the real scoop, right? It's one thing for the co-directors to say something, but we will hear right from students who are in the same position you are, a year or 2 or 3 ago. So Sarah, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself first.
Hello, I'm Sarah. I'm a biology major. I'm a sophomore, so 2023. I'm from Harford County, Maryland, and I'm involved in Alpha, Lambda, Delta, and Circle K here at Hood.
Okay, and Julia?
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm also a sophomore, 2023. My majors are global studies and art history with a minor in German. I'm from Ellicott City, Maryland, and then I'm involved also in Alpha Lambda Delta. I'm on the women's lacrosse team. I'm on the exec board for Queer Student Union, and I'm also on the board for trans inclusivity on campus.
Kaylee?
Hi, everyone. I'm Kaylee Windpickler. I'm a senior this year. I'm a history and global studies double major. I'm also from Walkersville, Maryland, which is about 10 minutes from campus. I am involved in all of the honors groups, clubs on campus, like Alpha Lambda Delta, Ionic Society, and those are things you get inducted to in your subsequent years at Hood. and I'm the editor of Wisteria, which is the creative writing magazine on campus, and I am the president of History Club.
These students are making me tired already. Billy?
Morning, everyone. My name is Billy Buchanan. I'm a mathematics major with a double minor in physics and Spanish. I'll be graduating a semester early, so I'll be graduating in 2021 from Starlight, Pennsylvania. I do a little bit of everything. I do esports. I'm an RA on campus. I am president of a few clubs, vice president of my class, been in charge of a lot of the honor societies such as Alpha Lambda Delta, and I am the chair, facilities chair for our Student Government Association.
Thank you. Grayson?
Hi everyone, my name is Grayson Rao. I'm a junior and my majors are psychology and Spanish. And some of the activities I've been involved in have been Alpha Lambda Delta, I was treasurer of that, and now I'm a member of Bionic Society. I'm also president of Psychi International Honor Society of Psychology. And I'm also involved in a few different research projects within the psychology department here at Hood.
And Hazen?
Hi everyone, my name is Hazen Stoll. I'm a sophomore. I'm majoring in business administration with a concentration in finance, minor in history. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah, so probably a little bit farther than any of you. And some of the things I'm involved in, I'm part of the swim team, and I'm also participating in InterVarsity Fellowship.
Thank you. So you get some idea what we said our students are involved and doing all kinds of things, double majors and leading organizations and being on sports teams. We were, you know, right, you could see that this is a representative group of honor students. So they're able to do the honors along with all those other activities. So if there are questions for our students, that would be wonderful.
There is a question in the chat about housing for honor students.
Well, we are in an envious position in that the college just completed the construction of a new residence hall. And the honors program is very fortunate that we have space. So our offices are on the bottom floor, on the I should say the first floor of the building. And we have a lounge and a seminar room there. And then there are a limited number of rooms set aside for honors students there. It's many fewer spots than total number of students in the program. So in general, certainly in the beginning, you can anticipate your freshman and sophomore years, the housing would be amongst all the rest of the students. And then there's an opportunity to have special housing near the honors program physical home.
Another question in the chat, how many honors students do we have at Hood?
About 180 or 200, is that?
Yeah, so we have about 50 coming in a typical year. And so that gives us, by the time you have, you know, all 4 years, gives us about 200 students in the program. But I'm wondering, just since we've got our students here and our you know, students really can speak to the program, I'm just thinking about maybe asking you guys to talk a little bit about either the Honors 202 experience that you had, or if some of you I think are writing departmental honors papers. So maybe you would speak to that. So maybe sort of the highlight for you so far of your honors program experience.
I think the honors program has really opened a lot of doors for me and given me a lot of perspective on things that I wouldn't have normally looked at. For example, in my sophomore year, I did the ethics and epidemics class with Dr. Boyd that they were telling you about. And as a history and global studies double major, I had no interest in doing science. So I was like hesitant to take this class. But I went through it, and at the end of that course, I was able to co-author a piece with Dr. Boyd and have that published. So that was like a really like eye-opening experience for me, and I got to tailor that course to like gender issues, which is something that I'm really passionate about and interested in. So I was able to blend that into the course and still come away learning so much that'll help me in the future that I hadn't realized would be super influential, especially considering the current situation of the world. As a global studies major, considering going into foreign policy, now I need to know things about epidemics that I have knowledge on because of this course. So that's one thing that has really helped me through the honors program, is this interdisciplinary aspect to it.
Yeah, the highlight for me for the honors program had to have been Plagues and People with Dr. Laufer. Not only is that the best honors course I've taken, but that is the best course I've taken at this school. So for me, that was the huge plus. In response to the chat question, I believe it's from Joy, about how do we find balance, that goes back to the wild cards, really. The way that I looked at it for my first 4 years coming in, I'm a math guy, I like the numbers, is I have to take these core courses anyway. So why not I take an honors course and get paid for taking the course instead of just paying the college for it? So that was my way to look at it. But really, these are just great courses to go pull in. They make you think outside of the box. And I'm a person who really didn't like a few of the core ones. Like I wasn't really interested in taking a religion course or something like that there. But I was interested in taking international crime fiction or Plagues and People or all these other courses that the honors program offered. So I thought that there were a lot more benefits to the program. And that's what led me to it.
Kind of to build off of what Billy was talking about, I came in my freshman year with a lot of AP credits I worked on. So I had a lab credit, I had math, English, and social studies, just to kind of cover those. And then the honors program really allowed me to get the rest of those extra core out of the way. So I didn't really have to worry about taking a core class when I could just jump straight into taking like my art history courses that I was really interested in. And in terms of balancing with activities as a student athlete, that's something that we get asked all the time. I played sports in high school. I was in my marching band in high school. I was what I like to call an extracurricular junkie in high school. So my biggest advice actually is everybody's always like, join as many clubs as you can. And while that is great, take it slow at first and figure out how much you can handle. So that's what I did my freshman year. I did lacrosse and I joined QSU, and I was a freshman rep on QSU as our career student union. And then I slowly built back up into joining other things as well. So kind of also, I live and die by my planner. So really making sure you structure your time and figure out how you want to spend your time, because in college you have a lot more time than you think you will, because you're not in class for 8 hours a day anymore. So it kind of just comes down to learning how you schedule your time best, how you can spend your time best, and then playing with it a bit.
And Julia, you work for the honors program, right? Someone asked about employment on campus.
That too. So I got campus work study as part of my financial aid package. So there's 2 different types of work study. There's campus work study, and then there's federal work study, which comes through your FAFSA. If you didn't get work study through your financial aid package, you can apply or request it, but you might be put on a wait list. But there are plenty of jobs on campus for pretty much anybody, and all departments hire people. Like you can get a job anywhere, and you don't necessarily need to have work study. So for the honors program, I am an office assistant. So basically if you come to the honors space at some point to come study, I'll probably be there. But I just kind of answer the phone if it needs to get answered. I help MJ. I don't know if she's on today, but MJ's she's wonderful. She organizes all the activities for honors behind the scenes. So I help her with setting things up and getting, she'll ask me a lot, do you think they'd be interested in this? And I'd be like, yeah, I want to go to the zoo. So then we went to the zoo. So the honors program does have, we do need more office assistants. So if anybody has campus work study, you do have to have campus work study to work at the honors office. But there are plenty of jobs on campus, and it's not just like a honors, yes, you have to be in the honors program to work at the honors office, but if you're not, you can find somewhere essentially.
Similar to Julia, I came in with a lot of AP credits, so honors has really just let me get done the remaining core requirements I had left so that I could get to the classes I really wanted to take. With honors classes, I've taken some classes I didn't expect to enjoy, such as the class we just took, which was Pilgrimage, Secular, and Sacred. And I didn't really expect to enjoy it, but I really enjoyed the analyzing aspect of the course and analyzing these different pilgrimages and different cultures and such. And for time management, definitely planner. I have a physical planner, I have an online planner, and really just time management and making sure you're putting time aside for the stuff you need to get done.
I just want to say, I think Sarah, Hazen, and I were all in the last 2 classes together. And then Sarah and I have been in all of our honors classes together. So yeah, Plagues and Peoples, great class. Pilgrimages, great class. Love them.
To touch on the Honors 202 practicum course that we do, my experience was at the International Welcome Center of Washington County Public Schools. I forgot to mention I'm from Hagerstown, so one thing that was great was I was able to go to a site that was 5 minutes down the street from me instead of in Frederick County, but it's still able to use that experience as a commuter, so that was really great. But there, the program was all about easing the transition for international students enrolling in the school system. And through that, we had a lot of Spanish-speaking students come in and everything. So with my Spanish major, I was able to translate documents and just hear the language, first of all, which is something that was really, really awesome to do as a second-year student. So.
And the Honors 202 course is something that you can put on your resume because it is part of your career experience. You know, the honors program doesn't want you to just take this as a course. This is you building yourself and your career, and you're going to learn a lot from the experience because you also write a paper at the end of the course about what you've learned and some of the takeaways of your experience. So it's a really great opportunity. I did mine with the Literacy Council of Frederick. I worked a lot with the marketing portion of it, but I did encounter some of the clients that they work with and helping them to learn English. And it was a very impactful experience. So that's one thing that you'll also come away with once you've gone through the honors program.
I don't want to cut any students off if any more of you want to chime in, but we do have another question in the chat about the conference. Have any of you presented, any of the students that we have on today presented at the conference? And if so, how was it?
I've presented at the Humanities Conference and I've submitted an application to present at a new upcoming honors conference, which will be held in February. And I'm going to present on a paper that I wrote about a monument in downtown Frederick. So as a history major, I took a course that was also an honors course on cemetery statues and centennials, which probably has been one of my favorite courses. And if they bring it back, I highly recommend everyone take it. But I'll be presenting on that. And this year, of course, is going to be entirely virtual. So I will build up a presentation, whether or not that be on a PowerPoint or whether or not that be on a poster. And I will give a 15-minute explanation about my presentation. When I participated in the Humanities Conference, it was a rather similar setup, except it was in person. And again, it was a 15-minute presentation. I had worked very closely with my advisor, Dr. Campion, to prepare myself for the presentation. So I was practicing for weeks on end, and it was a great experience because it gives you that public speaking interaction, and it teaches you how to effectively and succinctly explain your point. And to Josephine's question, the monument is I will not bore you with all the details, but I know I have so many things I could say, but it is the Color Memorial Fountain, and it's next to the Tally Parks and Rec Center. What I found particularly interesting about this monument is not only does it memorialize the mayor of the city of Frederick, he served for 7 terms back in the early 1900s, but it also memorializes his daughter, Anna Rebecca Color. She died at the age of 16 of rheumatism. And so I was fascinated to learn why was she memorialized. Also, I found a lot or learned a lot about Baker Park in general, that it used to be a really swampy area. There used to be African-American tenant houses there that were then removed in order to make room for the park. There was a lot of stuff that I learned in the process. But yes, it was a fascinating experience. And so I'm looking forward to sharing that presentation in February.
Well, I know that there may be some more questions, and you're going to have an opportunity to do that, but we're going to do that in smaller groups. This is way larger than most classes that we have, and so we want to break into groups that would be much more representative of what our classes would be. And so we'll have the breakout rooms are going to be primarily for student-to-student questions. If there are parents, and if you're on the same screen, you may certainly go to those rooms. You may also come back to this main room, which will also be open with a number of us here to answer your questions. So parents will probably keep you mostly here if you have those questions that we can answer for you, and we'll send the students off into breakouts with our current students, the ones that are here. We'll break them into smaller groups to monitor those breakout rooms. And I'm going to turn it over to Biz Gomer and Peyton Mills, who know the technology behind the scenes to make it all happen. But I want to, before I allow them to push that button for breakout rooms, I do want to say thank you for joining us on this Saturday morning. This has been a great experience for us to get to see you and to hear from you and to know that of your interest in Hood College. We want you to gather as much information about this place, the environment, the program, all those things that we offer. It's a wonderful place. It's a great opportunity for us to talk to you about it, and it's exciting for us. You can see there's a lot of passion about this place, and we love talking about it, and we look forward to having you join us in the fall and want to answer all those questions that we can. So I will turn it over. Biz, Peyton, whoever has the master switch, I'll allow you to do that, and I'll thank you all in this big group for coming and joining us today.